All right, old school NBA fans, self-research NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. In this video here, it's a very interesting one. Of course, I find all this stuff interesting. Hopefully you guys do too. That's why you tune in. This is a very interesting subject. This is about the greatest teams, at least record-wise, of all time. There's been, I think we're coming up on 80 years in the NBA. Pretty close there, but maybe 79, 80 or somewhere around there. I think it started in 47. I think this would be year 79 of the NBA. But either way. So of the 79 years in NBA history, there's been 22 teams that have won 65 or more games, or the equivalent of on some of the earlier teams. Of those 22 teams, 15 of them won the championship. So, that's a clip of about 2/3, almost exactly. That's the teams that I'm going to talk about. A very interesting thing, very difficult to do, you could say, was of these teams that won the championship while winning 65 games, which there's only 15 of those teams that were able to do that. That's a clip of about once every 5 years. So, those teams deserve consideration for things. But what did those teams do the next year? It's very curious because you have most cases, the exact same team. The landscape of the NBA is, basically the same. What happened the year after? And that's what this is what it's about. Because, like I said, I find it very interesting, very fascinating. You have a big year like that, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you to repeat. Vegas is going to favor you to win it again. And the fans and everybody's probably expecting the same thing. You had a remarkable season like that. You're going to be expected to continue that. And, of course, that doesn't always happen. A lot of times it doesn't happen. So I'm going to get right into it. First thing I'm going to talk about is the 7 teams that won 65 plus games but did not win the championship. Now, do I call them chokes? I mean, kinda, yeah. Because you clearly, far and away, had the best team in the NBA in almost every case. I think there's one exception to that. And you didn't win it. That's where history is going to judge you harshly, in my mind. So the first one was the 1951 Syracuse Nationals. They were 51-13, right? That's a great record. I mean, that comes to a winning percentage of 797. 65 wins is 793. So obviously you're doing better than that. You're, in the 65 and a half wins, whatever it would have been. And they didn't win it. 51, that was actually Rochester Royals. Minneapolis had won 2 championships, going for a three-peat. The Rochester Royals beat Minneapolis and then won the championship. So that was a pretty remarkable run by the 51 Rochester Royals. I've been kind of digging into that lately. I know it was a long time ago. That was almost 75 years ago, but still, nonetheless, that was a great run that doesn't get talked about often, not often enough. Because after that season, Minneapolis went on a three-peat. You know what I mean? The 1 year in there they didn't win it was the Rochester Royals. Okay. Anyway, the next one, 73 Boston Celtics. They were 68-14. Now that's the 6th best winning percentage in the regular season of all time. Havlicek got banged up, and I know that contributed to it. And they got beat by the Knicks in the conference finals. And, of course, the Knicks went on to beat the Lakers and won the championship in 5 games, I believe it was. So, the next team, well, before I get into that, what's very interesting is from the inception of the NBA up until the year 2000, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams that won it, and only 2 that didn't. So up to the year 2000, there was 12 teams that won 65 or more games. 10 won the championship. But then if you look at the last since 2000, since the Lakers in 2000 did that, that'd be the last 24 seasons. There's 5 teams that won the championship by winning 65 plus, but there's also 5 teams that didn't win the championship. So it's just funny how back then these guys just seemed to have more fortitude or whatever. The record meant more, because now it just, it's like a coin flip if the best team is going to win the championship or not. It's crazy. So you also got the 2007 Dallas Mavericks who suffered the biggest upset in NBA history. They were 67-15. They got beat by a 42-40 Golden State team. All right, the next one, the 2009 Cleveland Cavaliers. They were 66-16, number 1 seed, 39-2 at home, and they got beat in the conference finals by Orlando. A big upset, no question. They were up by 16 points in game 1 at halftime. Lost. 2016 is the only season in NBA history that had 2 teams of 65 or more win the championship. And what's crazy about that is neither team won it. 2016, Golden State was 73-9. Of course, they lost in the finals in 7 games. And San Antonio, the same year, was 67-15. They didn't even reach the conference finals. They got beat by Oklahoma City. They were 40-1 at home. So, again, Greg Popovich gets a lot of props for his coaching, and he should. He did a great job managing that team to championship victories. But he's got negatives too, and this is chief among them. 67-win season, you don't even reach the conference finals. Yeah, that's not very good. Anyway, the last team was the 2018 Houston Rockets, 65-17. Now, they were up 3-2 in the conference finals against Golden State. Chris Paul got hurt, and then Golden State, of course, won the last 2 games and then won the championship. But, so that one there, yeah, that's an injury, but technically they were a 65-win team and didn't win it. So I just find it hilarious that, since the turn of the century, if you win 65 or more games, it's only 50% chance that you're going to win the championship on average here. That's nuts. Because before that, from 2000 and before, that was covered like 54 seasons. Only twice did a team win 65 or more and not win it. And actually, the one team, Syracuse in 1951, they didn't even win 65. They were just on pace to. And the other one, of course, was 73 Boston Celtics. I just find that ironic, funny, whatever you want to say, that the teams in the 20th century won the championship when they had a good team. They won it. You know what I mean? In the 21st century, not necessarily. It's nuts. Okay, so we're going to start with the 1967 Philadelphia 76ers. They were 68-13. That's the 5th best record of all time. Winning percentage, I can't remember what it was exactly, but that's the 5th best season of all time. They won the championship. All these guys won the championship. The following year, though, trying to repeat, they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to Boston in 7 games. So, there goes that. All right. Milwaukee, 1971. They're 66-16. The next year, they lost in the Western Conference Finals in 6 to the LA Lakers. Now, the 72 Lakers obviously were legendary, great team. But Milwaukee was no slouch either. They dropped off 3 wins, but I think they were 4-1 against the Lakers in 71, and then they were 1-4 against the Lakers the next year. So that's where those 3 wins, they were only 3 wins worse. Their point differential was almost identical. They were like the same team. It's just the Lakers were a little better. The 72 Lakers, 69-13, tied for the 97 Bulls for the 3rd best record of all time. The Lakers lost in the finals the next year in 73 in 5 games to the Knicks. So their bid to repeat didn't happen. The next team to do it was the 76ers in 1983. 65-17. They ran roughshod over everybody. Great year. When they were going to repeat, they got beat in the first round by New Jersey in 5 games. Big upset. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. It's tough to repeat. Boston, 1986. 67-15 record. best home team of all time, including regular season and playoffs. They were 50-1. The next year, however, they did have, people were hobbled, banged up, beat up, whatever. The Lakers had home court advantage that series, whatever. Boston lost in 87 in the finals in 6 games to the Lakers. Okay, so they didn't repeat either. The Lakers in 87 were 65-17, the team that beat Boston in 87, going to repeat. Well, the next year in 88, they won the championship. So they repeated after winning 65 games. No one had done that for the first 40 years of the NBA. So that's pretty incredible. So now they did it. They repeated after having a 65-win championship season. Okay, the next team to do it was the 92 Chicago Bulls. They were 67-15. In 93, the following year, they won the championship. They beat Phoenix in 6. Then again, the Bulls did it in 1996. They were 72-10. The following season, they won the championship. So they've now done it twice, and that's more than anybody, because the Lakers are the only team up to that point that even did it once. And then, for good measure, in 97, they have a 69-win season, 69-13, which is, I think it's the 3rd best season of all time, playoff and regular season combined. I think that's right. Anyway, the next year in 98, they won the championship. So the Bulls did it 3 times. They had one of those big seasons like that, but won it the next year. A lot of these teams here didn't do that. All right, and then the next team to do it was the 2000 Lakers. They were 67-15. The next year in 01, they won the championship. So there's another one. That's why I've got the star here. So now you have 5 teams in the first about 54 years in the NBA. You had 5 teams that did it. All right, the next team to win 65 plus and win a championship was 2008 Boston. They were 66-16. The next year in 09, they lost in the semifinals in 7 to Orlando. They ran into some bad luck. Kevin Garnett got hurt, and that was a real shame because I think that Boston had a real chance to repeat. Definitely would have beat Cleveland. But anyway, they fell short. They didn't win it. That's the bottom line here. The 2009 Lakers were the next team. They were 65-17. Going to repeat in 2010, they did just that. They won the championship in 7 games over Boston. So they joined these other 5 teams here, which actually Kobe now has done it twice. Kobe's got 2 of those. Jordan has 3. Magic, Kareem have 1. Shaq has 1 also, but Kobe's got 2 of those. Impressive. Okay, the next team was 2013 Miami. They were 66-16. They won the championship in 2013. Well, the next year, going to repeat, they got beat in 5 games to San Antonio. So, they're just like these other, a lot of other teams that couldn't win it after having that big season with the championship. That's why I don't think Boston the last year won 64 games, but I don't think they're going to win it. It's hard to do it when you have such a big year like that. I mean, history proves it. Unless you have a mental fortitude of like a Kobe or a Michael Jordan. All right. The next team was the 2015 Golden State Warriors. They were 67-15. The next year in 2016, they had one of those years. They were 73-9, the best regular season of all time, but they got beaten 7 in the finals to Cleveland. There was injuries, suspensions, a hobbled Curry, all that kind of thing came into play. But whatever. Bottom line, I've said it before. Where do you draw the line on injuries? How much context do you give injuries? Because everybody has them at some point or another, or your competition, or your teammates. I mean, it would take just, thousands of hours of research to somehow come up with some formula to show if somebody did what they were supposed to, with all the injuries. It's crazy. All right. So anyway, they got beat. But the next year, in 2017, when they acquire Kevin Durant, they have another 67-15 season. And this time, though, in 2018, they win the championship. They swept Cleveland in the finals. I think that's the biggest beatdown in finals history, if If I'm right, I think I'm right about that. So, the 22 teams in the NBA's history that won 65 plus games are right here. 22 of them. All right. Of the 22, 15 won championships. Of the 15 champions, only 7 teams were able to repeat, and that's less than half. And that just goes to show you how hard it is to repeat when you have a big season like that. Not just as champions, but as being, the dominant team. You have a dominant season, win the championship. More times than not, the team does not win it the next year. Like only 7 out of 15. You got Golden State in 2017, the Lakers in 2009, the Lakers in 2000, the Bulls in 92, 6, and 7, and the Lakers in 87. So actually going by franchises, the Bulls have 3, the Lakers have 3, and Golden State has 1. If you're going by, top players, then you could say that Magic Johnson has 1, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has 1, Michael Jordan has 3, Kobe and Shaq have 1. Actually, Shaq has 1, but Kobe's got 2. That was another thing I looked at on his resume, why I ranked Kobe so high, because he was never that high before for me. It was his competition was the toughest on the list, and also the fact this right here really, scored points. The fact that he had a 65-win season in 2009 and then was able to repeat as champions. That just said a lot about him. So anyway, yeah, there's 7 teams out of the 15 that made it right here, and that would be Jordan 3 times, Magic, Kareem, and Shaq, and Curry 1 each, and then Kobe Bryant's got 2, and I guess Kevin Durant, if you want to be technical, of course. But when you look at it, though, to make that happen, you needed Magic and Kareem. You needed Shaq and Kobe. You needed Curry and Durant. You needed, 2 top 20, at least, all-time great players to win these. And Michael Jordan didn't have anybody like that quite. I mean, I know some people, if you hate LeBron, Pippen's, top 25 or something like that. If you're being ridiculous about it, you're saying that, Pippen's barely a top 75. He's in the middle, okay? He's somewhere around 40 to 50. That's where he belongs. And that's true. That's an honest assessment of Scottie Pippen. But anyway, I just find this stuff extremely fascinating. Only 7 times in the history of the NBA has a team won 65 or more and won the championship and then repeated. Only 7 times. So that happens less than once a decade. And then we have a guy right here who did it 3 times in 6 years? Astounding. It really is. And again, all the people who want to push Michael Jordan down talking about, the competition was weak, watered down, da-da-da. Again, so the whole history of the NBA, only Jordan, during that window, the league was just not very good, was terrible, and Jordan had this unbelievable super team juggernaut that was able to just jam through all these championships. We all know that's just not even close to what happened. Any of us that were alive back then and saw it, we know that wasn't what happened. But anyway, again, this stuff here is just so fascinating to me. This speaks more to your will and mental fortitude than it does anything else. To have big seasons like these and then repeat as champion, yeah, that says a lot. It really does. And Kobe Bryant has 2 of them, and that's more than any other, player really ever, except for Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. But, as far as like the best player, whatever, yeah, Kobe wasn't the best player on 2000, but he was kind of like a 1B. And, 2009, he repeats in 2010. Fascinating, interesting stuff. And for all you LeBron fans out there, LeBron had a chance in 2009. Well, he didn't even make it to the finals, okay? He could have been on the list. He didn't make it. And then in 2013, they had a 66-win season. They needed 7 games to beat a 49-win Indiana team, 7 games and a miracle 3 from Ray Allen to win that championship, but they did win it. But the next year, going to repeat, they had the second worst defeat in finals history. So I'm just saying, like, let's just knock off these comparisons, would you? There's, again, one guy at the top of the list. And I wasn't even looking for this. Again, this was just something that dawned on me. I was like, wait a minute. So out of the 15 teams that had 65 plus wins in a championship, only 7 repeated. That's less than half. That's what got me interested right away when I realized that. And then to see that of the 7, Michael Jordan's got 3 of them, almost half. It's incredible in the whole history of the NBA we're talking about here. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing it. I give daily content. I try to be very active in the comments. And that's it. Until next time.